On Monday morning at 7 a.m., you are sitting in front of your garage with the engine running, staring at the steering wheel. This car cost you $25,000. Your monthly payments are $485. It has been 8 months since you bought the car. You remember the day you drove it out of the dealership, the smell of the leather, how smooth the ride was, how proud you felt driving into your neighborhood. Now it is just a place to sit in traffic. The magic lasted 3 weeks. The payments will last 72 months. This is the $25,000 threshold illusion. The situation where you think your life will change. But in reality, most things remain the same. My name is Logan Wolfe, and I've seen more people ruin their financial momentum with car purchase decisions than with any other purchase decision. If you thought a nicer car would make you happier, or if you are currently paying for a car that costs more than 3 months of your income, subscribe, because what I am about to show you could completely change your thoughts on transportation and cars. Here is the psychological trap that car companies have perfected by spending billions of dollars. They're not selling you a vehicle, they're selling you an identity upgrade. In ADS, the car isn't shown in Tuesday's rush or traffic, but on empty mountain roads at sunset. It is not tired workers commuting to boring jobs, but attractive people living exciting lives. The implied promise is simple: buy this car and move up a class, your prestige will increase. That is what they're trying to sell you. This is the car company's sales strategy in this century of consumption, and most people fall into this trap without improving their financial situation. The system gives you comfort, but takes away your freedom. After buying that car, you pay the banks, the car company, and places like that for 72 months. And it works because cars, unlike most purchases, are visible. No one sees your retirement account. No one knows your investment portfolio. But everyone sees the car you drive. This sends a message about who you are, or rather, how you want people to see you. This visibility triggers comparison anxiety. You see your coworker's new SUV, and suddenly your reliable sedan feels inadequate. The comparison game never ends. There's always someone driving a nicer car. In short, a car gives you a lot, yes, but that race usually turns into a never-ending race unless you are a billionaire. Also, goals change. You can go from a $20,000 car to a $30,000 car and suddenly notice the $45,000 models. The hedonic treadmill never stops because the car market is designed to keep you chasing the next level. That is why banks love car companies. Because 3 players enter this game: the car company, you, and your bank. Most of the time, the winners of this game are your bank and the car company. They give you comfort and take your money with interest. In the past, this situation was a bit different. For example, in the 1960s, the average new car cost about $17,000 in today's money. The average household income was $58,000 per year, so a car could be purchased with 3.5 or 4 months worth of income. What about today? The average price of a new car is $48,000. The average annual income for a family is $75,000. A car can be purchased with nearly 8 months' worth of household income. Car prices have nearly doubled compared to 60 years ago. But the real change, and the key difference between then and now, is this. In the 1960s, people used their cars for 8 to 10 years. Maintenance was expected. Driving a 10-year old car was not embarrassing. And the length of time a car was used was quite reasonable, because people saw the car as a necessity that was the aspect of the car issue that concerned people. Systemically speaking, there was much less car supply in the US at that time compared to today, which indirectly reduced consumption. People were less inclined to consume. Today, the average person replaces their car after 6 years. We pay twice as much for cars we use for a shorter period. Just as the monetary threshold has changed since those years, so has the shame threshold. Now, a 7-year-old car feels old, even if it is mechanically almost brand new. This change was not accidental. Just as the amount of money in the world increased and banks grew stronger every year, marketing departments naturally wanted to benefit from this growth and all studied human psychology. In doing so, they learned that novelty had become a status symbol for people. Not just owning a car, but owning a new car, The model year became a social marker. Driving a 2018 model car in 2025 feels different from driving a 2015 model car, even if both work perfectly. Consider taking out a 72-month loan. In 2000, the average car loan term was 52 months. Today, it is 69 months and rising. Some lenders offer loans with terms as long as 84 months, 7 years. You can finance a car for longer than most people work at a job. The monthly payment seems manageable because it is spread out over an absurdly long period. You are not buying a car. You are renting money at 7 to 12% APR depending on your credit score. That is why you can't cross the threshold of freedom, because you get comfort, maybe status too, but freedom is lost. In this scenario, banks come out on top. How? Let me explain. Banks win either way. If you complete the payment, they collect interest for years. If you trade it in early, like most people do, around 3 or 4 years, you lose money. You owe more than the car is worth. This way, you carry negative equity into your next loan. Now you are paying for 2 cars, but only using one. Debt accumulates over car cycles. This is the mechanism that traps people. You earn $65,000 a year. After taxes, you have $48,000, or $4,000 a month. A $485 car payment seems like 12% of your monthly income, a manageable amount. But that is just the payment. Add $180 for insurance, $200 for gas, $100 for maintenance, $50 for registration. You are actually spending $1,015 per month. That is 25% of your net income for a depreciating asset that loses 20% of its value the moment you drive it off the lot. So you move further away from financial freedom. That is why most people, especially those starting from zero, struggle to overcome the financial threshold they need to cross for freedom. Also, when I think about it carefully, I realize that most people don't calculate the true cost. They focus on paying because that is what the salesperson emphasizes. Can you pay $485 a month? Yes. Great. Sign here. No one asks you if you can allocate 25% of your income to transportation, because if they did, the answer would be no. That is how the system works, so it is beneficial to understand the system very well and take precautions for your financial freedom. Now, let me explain the real costs using an example based on today's conditions. You decide to buy a $28,000 car. For a $28,000 car, you pay a total of $34,920 over 6 years with monthly payments of $485 at 8% APR. You've paid $6,920 in interest to own something worth $15,000. You've lost $13,000 in depreciation and paid $7,000 in interest. $20,000 has evaporated. Worse yet, a monthly payment of $485 invested in index funds, yielding an average annual return of 8%, would grow to $44,500 after 6 years. After 12 years, it would be $113,000. After 18 years, it would be $217,000. You didn't just lose the car's value, you also lost the potential earnings that money could have generated. Buying a luxury car gives you comfort and status, yes, but it doesn't give you any status beyond that. It doesn't preserve your wealth. It actually reduces its value. You know that already. A car, like a house or land, won't provide you with long-term returns or assets. It will only provide comfort and status. You may think differently. You may have counter-arguments. You may say, I need a reliable means of transportation. True, but the point where some people deceive themselves is seeing a reliable car as a new car. But in my opinion, that is not the case. A 2015 Toyota Camry with 80,000 miles can go another 150,000 miles with basic maintenance. The average value of that car is $12,000. Paying 6% interest over 4 years would cost $282 per month. You would save $203. Over 6 years, you would save $14,600. The real cost isn't the car. It is the things you can't do because of the payments. It is the financial hurdle you struggle to overcome, no matter how hard you work. You can't make aggressive investments because payments take priority. You can't take risks in your career because you need a steady income to make payments. You might not be able to build an emergency fund, for example, because nothing is left after fixed expenses. A car doesn't just cost money, it also limits your options. This is the hidden cost. You may stay in a job you dislike because you need the salary to pay for the car. You don't negotiate because you can't risk losing your income stream. You don't start the business you've been thinking about because you need payment stability. The car becomes a golden handcuff. I've seen people who couldn't pay their car loan and couldn't afford to sell their car turn down promotions that required relocation. I've also seen people stay in toxic work environments because they had a car payment due in 2 weeks. The vehicle that should represent freedom became the apparatus that trapped them. Even though I was making $70,000 a year, I bought a $32,000 car. The monthly payments were $520. I convinced myself I deserved it. My old car was embarrassing. This one had heated seats, a backup camera, Bluetooth. I loved it for 2 months. Then it became invisible. 3 years later, I sold the car, lost $8,000, and bought a $7,000 Honda Civic with 110,000 miles. I saved $450 a month. 6 months later, my financial situation started to improve, but overcoming the financial barriers to my own freedom became very challenging due to these kinds of consumption mistakes. There is something no one tells you about driving a cheaper car. The first month feels like a downgrade. You notice every noise, every old feature, every time a nicer car pulls up next to you. The second month, you notice less. By the third month, you forget you ever cared. Your brain adapts. Status anxiety disappears because you realize no one else cares what car you drive. Your coworkers don't respect you any less. Your friends don't abandon you. Your romantic expectations don't vanish. The whole story you built around the car's meaning was fiction. It was a story you told yourself to justify the expense, and when you stop telling that story, all its power disappears. And most importantly, you can more comfortably make progress toward your financial goal. I drove both, the $32,000 car with leather seats and the $7,000 Honda with fabric upholstery and 110,000 miles on it. Want to know the real difference in daily happiness? Zero. Both took me to work. Both had air conditioning. Both had speakers that played music. The expensive one had a rear view camera. The cheap one required me to turn my head. That is it. Those are the only tangible differences. And most importantly, you can more comfortably navigate the path to surpassing your financial goal. Some people's reasons for owning a car seem like a way to ease their conscience to me. They say, I spend a lot of time in my car, so it should be nice. On the surface, this seems logical. But the real question is, would you rather have a nicer car for 2 hours every day? Or would you rather have the financial freedom to not have to commute to a job you hate? Because that is the real choice. Car payments can extend the time it takes to achieve financial independence by years, sometimes decades. Instead of the possibility of eliminating commuting altogether, you choose comfort during the commute. Banks understand this better than you do. Car loans are among the most profitable products for banks, after mortgages and credit cards. When you enter into a payment plan, you make it a priority over almost everything else. You give up on investing. You avoid career changes. You stay put. 6 years later, when you pay off your debt, a new model will be waiting for you with low monthly payments and great financing options. This cycle will never end unless you break it, and breaking it requires admitting you made a mistake and triggering cognitive dissonance. You spent $15,000 on this vehicle. Selling it now means accepting the loss. So because the alternative is so painful, you convince yourself it is the right thing to do and keep paying. Here is how to break it, based on my own experience and thoughts. First, you can calculate the true cost of your car. Payment plus insurance, plus gas, plus maintenance, plus registration. Multiply by 12. That is your annual car expense Divide your net income by that number. If it is more than 15%, you are over-leveraged. Second, if you are underwater, meaning you owe more than the car is worth, get out of that situation before selling. Put every extra dollar you earn toward the principal. Tax refunds, work bonuses, extra income, everything goes toward the car loan third. Once you are debt-free, establish a rule. Car purchases must be made with cash only. If you don't have the cash to buy the car outright, you can't buy it. This eliminates 90% of bad car decisions. If you save $30,000, you probably won't buy a $30,000 car. You'll likely buy a $10,000 car and set aside the other $20,000 for yourself. Because spending cash is a real pain that financing can never replicate. Fourth, redefine what a car is. A car is not an identity. It is not status. It is a vehicle that takes you from point A to point B. The cheaper and more reliable this vehicle is, the more money you have left for what truly matters. Time freedom, career flexibility, investment growth, experiences that create memories instead of payments. In short, the financial threshold you want to overcome for your freedom. While on the subject of money, I want to remind you that I absolutely do not give investment advice on this channel. Fifth, if you need a nicer car, earn the money for it. Set the rule that your car should not exceed 10% of your net worth. Want a $30,000 car? First build up $300,000 in net worth. At that point, the car is a rounding error. It is a choice, not a chain. After making the change, the $450 per month in free money went directly into investments. It was automated. I couldn't touch it. After 18 months, I had saved and invested $9,500. After 3 years, $22,000. After 5 years, $38,000. More than the total cost of the car I sold. The car fallacy isn't about transportation. It is about what you are willing to sacrifice for appearances. Every dollar spent on a car is a dollar that can't be used to build real wealth. The question isn't whether you can afford the payment. The real question is what that payment costs you in terms of the life you could be building instead. If this video showed you something you weren't aware of regarding transportation costs and cars, subscribe. I analyze the financial traps that trap people and the specific decisions that create momentum. Leave a comment about your current car situation. Are you stuck with payments? Do you drive a cheap car? Are you thinking about your next step? Let's compare notes. See you in the next video.